Well, hello and welcome again to the Skillwork Forum. I'm Tim, as always, joined by my partner and good friend Brett here on the Skillwork Forum. We gather on this podcast to really talk about all kinds of topics, but generally related to skilled trades, manufacturing, or the challenges around leading those companies, and probably more specifically to us, how do you find the correct staff to drive your companies forward? So we'll talk about a broad range of topics. And today is no exception. We're going to have our good friend Jason Rothfuss with us here today. We know Jason very well. We'll get into it a little bit more, but he's been part of our company and been on our journey as we've grown as a company, because Jason is a business strategy and leadership guru, organizational structure, really everything around how do you staff grow, encourage, lead your organization. So he's an expert in that. And I'll read a little bit about some of his bona fides here. So he's a certified Pinnacle business guide, a certified working genius facilitator, and he runs a consulting firm. There's a lot of other things you can add, Jason. It's called Red Fox Consulting. If you're in our area or in our region, you can't go wrong reaching out to Jason at Red Fox. They've helped us lots. You work with our internal team, we know, multiple times, Jason, but for those that maybe aren't as familiar, tell us a little bit about what you do, because I probably only scratched the surface.
No, actually, that's great. Thank you very much. It's an honor to be on. And I'll tell you, I build leaders, and I build leadership teams that build companies. That's the short version. I do Pinnacle Business Guide. That is business operating systems. That is getting, and we're going to talk about this, getting systems into your business. LX Council is actually a peer advisory group. And so that's getting CEOs and presidents together on a regular basis to collaborate, to communicate. So I do that, and then I also am an executive coach. Round out the picture. That's what I do.
Yeah. So building leaders is something near and dear to our heart, Brett, for sure. We have a lot to talk about.
Yeah, for sure. So what, when you think about it, Jason, when a client comes to you, obviously if it's an individual on an executive coach level, it's probably a little bit different. But what's the primary value that you bring to your clients? Is in building that business system? Is it just overall leadership? What?
Whenever you're going to start on a journey, and it is a journey, right, to implement clear, concise systems in your business, there has to be a certain amount of pain, right? There has to be a certain amount of something that needs to be pushing that. That actually looks like three different things usually. Is when people come, they are either frustrated because they've realized that them and maybe their team, their leadership team, has become the roadblock, right? They're the greatest thing that ever happened to the company, and they're also now starting to be the place where people stand in line to get answers from them. And that's one place. The other is groups that really want to do something really exceptional, that are just like high driven, right? Want to dominate. So those people are looking for direction, looking for like a system and ways to improve. And there's people that are just like, you know what, this is good, I'm happy, but I think just improvement, right? Just like that kind of improvement mindset. So those are three different drives that people end up working with me.
Yeah, it's interesting. A lot of times, and a lot of the people that watch this are focused on, when they think of systems, operating systems, they're probably thinking of manufacturing supply lines, production facilities, even the the infrastructure required to make those work. But I'm not sure many people think about a business operating system or even really know what that means. A lot of people, especially in companies that have started startups or entrepreneur-minded business owners, what exactly is a business operating system?
Yeah, great question. The good news is that no matter what, right, startup, manufacturing, service company, you have a system, and it's there. So when we say business operating system, though, we're talking about a structured, customized, intentionally designed, and disciplined approach to your business and implementing systems.
So that encompasses how you do things, your staff. Is it help us get our head around what sort of things would be part of that?
It is, I would say, simply, right, talking about it's like cylinders of a car, right? So your people, your processes, your purpose, your vision, mission, and your measurement, how you measure success, what that looks like, and profitability. And those things, putting systems in place that are going to connect to each other, that are going to make sense for that business, and that are going to drive success. So those are the components that I would say.
That's interesting. You said everybody has one, that some people do it intentionally.
Yeah, well, that's the old Andy Stanley saying. Everybody's going to get somewhere. Some of us are going to get there on purpose. And
Right.
So it's the same with the operator or the business system. So what are some of the characteristics? Obviously, you get the inside look. You're coming as a consultant. You're coming in. You're looking. You have no preconceived notions when you look at these companies. And what are some of the characteristics of companies who haven't defined a business system? They're wanting to, but you're going in there. You're looking. These are the goals. But when you don't have that system, what are the characteristics that you see in those types of organizations that are on a path, hopefully, to try to fix it, but they're not there?
Right. Yeah, I think that there's things that as a leader you're going to hear in the organization. You're going to hear yourself saying maybe that are, right? Oh, I thought you were. So there's these people struggles, or I didn't know that they were even unhappy and they've left. There's things like that. Oh, you know what? Here's another customer complaint that we have to deal with. And there's that struggle where it can be good for a certain level of growth that work. And then there's places where it starts getting rough. And it's like, wait, we're stretched out. Things like, it's not the money crisis we had on day one startup, but we're struggling with really performing well, delivering well. And typically, that'll be some of the things that happen there.
Yeah, I think, is it fair to say that a lot of companies out there, they just morphed into what they are, like Brett was talking about, you just arrive. And for folks out there listening that maybe are scratching their head and thinking either one or two things, that doesn't apply to my company, or maybe I need to start exploring. So what would you tell somebody out there about how do you assess whether you have a good system, need a good system?
Yeah.
What do you do to get them thinking?
Yeah, there's actually, there's an assessment, Pinnacle Business Guides. You can go to the website and look at that.
What's
each
the
of those,
website again?
those
Is
things.
it's
Pinnacle
what?
Business Guides.
Well, I'm just trying to get, like, if I'm out there on the other side of this looking at it, and I'm either sitting there thinking, well, I don't need to listen to this anymore because my business is great, or maybe somebody who has a little bit more self-awareness thinking,
Yeah.
maybe I need to explore. So a self-check. How do people get some self-awareness about it?
Yeah, I think the decision to do that, like I said, it always starts with some pain, right? There's a lot of different options, right, in terms of what that looks like. But I would say that people want to go read a bunch or go search the web. And I think it's really about deciding what you want, right? Look around, talk to your leaders. If we have an ongoing company here, talk to your leaders like, could this be better? How hard is the struggle for you, right? Because we're mission focused often on this, driving this business, and we're growing and we don't notice that we could have a lower turnover if we did this different, right? We could have less pressure on our people if we did this different. We could have better results financially, but I don't quite know what to do. But you just have to want to, right? Like and I'm a firm believer, you can't convince people. I don't try to sell people. They gotta want to do something different.
That's a big part of it.
No, it is for sure. What's the relationship? I think you mentioned it a second ago, but can you tie together, or maybe there isn't one, I think there probably is, but the relationship of the business operating system with the company's vision and core values?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, your vision and your core values, they're going to be a piece of this strategy that you're going to put together. They are one component, right? And I think that's where people think like, oh, if I get a mission statement, then we're good, right? Then everybody's going to know that's where we're going. But if you don't give them a picture, it needs to be more graphic than that. We need to have this fleshed out so that people can make the right decisions without us standing there, without calling us, without standing outside of our office to ask us, hey, wait, I got an option, A or B, which way do I go? And so we have to flesh that out. And so we have to have a way that we talk to our people, right? A culture that we create on purpose. And then we have to have purpose clear. We have to have our direction clear. And so that's part of that vision, right? But also, where are we going to be in 10 years? Talk about that. Right? It doesn't have to be specific, doesn't have to be precise. It has to be, we're going that way, not that way, right? Just that big picture. And then you bring that down into today by saying, well, 3 years, what's that going to look like, right? Oh, okay, this year, what are we going to get done that's going to move us toward that? So those are all just pieces, I would say, of a comprehensive strategy or a business operating system.
Is the skilled labor shortage hurting your company's bottom line? Skillwork is the premier staffing agency focusing exclusively on skilled labor. Our team of highly skilled workers augments your existing teams for elevated impact and decreased downtime. Partnering with hundreds of facilities in more than 30 states, we deploy our traveling industrial technicians to work for you on a contract basis. Our philosophy is simple: to honor God in all we do, bring respect back to the skilled trades, and positively impact those around us. For more information on how Skillwork can deliver the top labor talent you need, visit skillwork.com or call us at 402-447-7058. Call us today to see how Skillwork can work for you.
Yeah, I can hear people out there that are entrepreneurial minded or startup minded that are hearing this going like, that just sounds like inefficiency, slowing us down. A lot of our people maybe came out of a big corporate bureaucracy morass of process after process. For those people out there that maybe don't want to embrace something like this because they see it as being a drag on the company. And some of the books that we've read, Brett and I are business partners, and we bring different strengths, and we both come to realize that there's a place for process and structure. Done right, it doesn't slow you down. Would you agree with that, or why should I do it? And I think a large part of people that resist that just see it as overhead that is not required because it's going to slow us down. So I wanted you, how do you overcome that resistance?
Yeah, and I think that's a misnomer a little bit because people have that sense of, I'm going to slow down, I'm going to stop what I'm doing, my work, and we're going to spend time with Jason or somebody like him guiding us through this process to figure out our values and this 10-year stuff, and that seems ethereal. But the reality is that you are spending that time, right? You are spending time in strategy and planning. It's just that you're spending it all the time. You're spending it right in the middle of meetings. You're spending it at dinner when you should be with your family. But it's because that stuff is happening. It has to, right? Yeah. People need direction, and they're gonna ask for it, or they're gonna go the wrong direction, and you're gonna have to pull them back. But you're doing it either way. I think it's more efficient if you do it on purpose.
Yeah, the Andy Stanley quote, I think, is a good one.
Yeah, for sure. And so along those lines, when you've done this with a variety of companies, Jason, but what's a typical, how long does it take? And I know the size of the organization obviously probably changes this answer, but how long does it take to implement a full EOS type system across an organization? Yeah,
what I asked for is a mental commitment of 2 years. If you're gonna start, this kind of thing that we tried, right? Because it cannot be the book of the month. It can't be your leaders all roll their eyes and like, yeah, I'm just gonna wait this one out. So there's that piece, but there's also that it's gonna take time because I'm gonna start with the leadership team. A lot of people wanna, hey, go fix my people, go. And the reality is we have to start with the leadership team. We have to do this hard work. There's a quote that is attributed to Mark Twain that he wrote in a letter, and he said, I'm sorry this letter's so long. There wasn't time for me to write a shorter one. Yeah. And we have to do, as leaders, we have to do the work up front to write the short letter, to make it clear this is where we're going, to make our message simple enough that not just our people can get it, but we also can remember it, right? It's going to be this guiding principles for us that we set. And so we have to do that work. It's flat out work. It's discipline. Yeah. And so 2 years is the kind of mental structure. And then beyond that, if I work with clients, it might be 3-4 years where they're saying, hey, we just like it better when you facilitate our quarterly meetings or our annual planning. Come and do that. And those things, it's not an end point, but it's certainly a place where you better work on that. We're not going to roll anything down, these systems, these ideas, these meeting structures. Nothing goes from the leadership team and starts being used in the rest of the company until the leadership team is good at it, until they're ready to roll it themselves. Because I'm not working my way into the company. I am working with the leadership team, and it's their company, it's their teams. And so we're going to roll it down into the organization at their speed. At the point where they have mastery of that stuff, then we're going to move it into the organization.
And so it sounds like it's not a one-size-fits-all solution, and maybe not there are people that sell this approach is good for everyone at all times and all stages of business. And it sounds like you have to do a lot of customization. I think you even mentioned that earlier, that you have to be highly customized to that business.
Yeah, there's a lot of different sort of operating systems over time that have come around, right? 1977, the E-Myth, Michael Gerber wrote, right, the E-Myth. So it's been around a long time. There's newer ones, right, scaling up, EOS, the 4 disciplines of execution. As a Pinnacle business guide, my role is to know that stuff, is to be the expert in stuff. Because otherwise, you're like, you go and figure that out, right? Go look and, oh, you know what? Scaling up has great strategy. And EOS has got some great concepts around accountability and functional accountability. But we have to build a system that fits you, that fits your company right now as you grow. Let's get the right tool for you right now, not the sort of off the shelf. And there's a lot of like, we'll double your revenue in 6 months, bravado things on Instagram. But the reality is it's just going to take work. There's not a magic pill to make it.
Applies to lots of things.
Yeah, for sure. So overall, if you were going to take a first step towards doing this out there and somebody's listening, somebody's interested, maybe they're thinking we continue to get frustrated, maybe they're coming up on year-end planning, and somebody wants to take the first step towards even considering if they, because when you said it's a 2-year horizon, I could see a lot of people out there just like, they can afford to have you come over for an afternoon and fix things. That's their mindset, a lot of people. But what is the first step? The journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step.
Yeah,
what do we
good.
do out there if you're struggling or maybe thinking about looking into this?
Yeah, I think that if you're a growing business and that you're considering this, I think stop Googling, right? Don't click on Facebook, this Facebook ads for the 3 months I'm going to change your life, right? No exercise, but you're going to lose 40 pounds. There really is it's a decision to make. Like, are you going to do it or are you not going to do it? And you need to pick up front. I know it's easy to say, oh, go read a book, but the reality is you have to look at your life and take a little bit of time, look at your life and decide, like, am I good with this? I talk to leaders, to business owners all the time, and we meet and they're like, yeah, but we could grow faster, but we're doing okay. I wish we had a little lower turnover rate. We seem to have we lose people, some good people. But I kind of like how I'm doing things. And they want to be the one that's answering all the questions. They want to be the one that gets consulted for every option. And there's something feeds them a little bit, right, about that. And so if you can have a good business and a good life and like that lifestyle business, you can do that. I think that it's a choice, honestly, up front. It's a choice. And at that point, you say, yeah, I really want to do something different. I look forward at my business, I look forward at my life and see 5 years from now, it's not going to be that much different, right? There'll be some growth or maybe, but it's not going to be that much different. If that's okay with you, then like, great, God bless you. Like, truly, I'm happy for you. If that's not, then you should probably find somebody. If you have, I don't want to go over the top. If you have cancer, right, what are you going to do? You're going to start reading blogs? You're going to find somebody, right? It's going to be a who question, not a how question.
Yeah.
And if you want to, you can read all those books, right? You can and try to figure out which parts of those things, which tools are going to fit my business in my industry right now. Or you can find somebody that's going to say, okay, we're going to take this journey together. And there's EOS. I like EOS. I was an EOS implementer for a number of years. I like Pinnacle better. I think there's options that are broader. So Pinnacle business guides have a bigger toolbox, have a bigger tool set that they're going to try to bring you not the entrepreneurial operating system, but the skill work operating system is what we're trying to build here, right? So there's just a different mindset where there's no box. It's going to be what you need to talk about, to work on these things, your people, your process, your performance, your purpose, profit, every time, all the time in this rhythm. And then you can start making it better, right?
That's really good. So I know we got to wrap up here. You'll have, if you haven't read it, you'll have to. I just finished it actually yesterday. It's 10X is easier than 2X.
Yeah, Dan Sullivan.
And when you think about it, in what you were just saying there, the 2X is I get fulfillment in doing the 80% of stuff. But if you want to grow 10X, you've got to focus on the 20% that only you can do. And as you build these systems, they talk about in that book about a self-managing company.
Yep.
And that should be the goal, to get to you raise your people and you've showed them this is the vision, this is where we're going type thing. But I just reminded of that.
Yeah, that's great.
It is a great reminder. I think that the encouragement to people out there is that continually be self-examining and looking for ways. We talked earlier today of concept of just taking incremental daily improvements to get better all the time. And status quo is probably not a good place to be as a business. You have to continue to look to grow. And so Jason he's a good friend of ours. He's also helped us. Highly recommend reaching out to Red Fox if you're looking to just, he'll come and talk to you or get on the phone and see if it's a good fit. But him or others, depending on where you are, look for somebody to come in and help. And I think oftentimes, Brett, you said it before, that we as business owners and leaders of start companies, we're often the ceiling for the company because we don't allow the company to really go. And part of that is we have to be able to bring on processes, tools, approaches, systems, so that we're not constantly working in the business, we're working on the business. Appreciate your insights today. Anything else you want to share as we close out today?
Thank you. I would, in terms of next steps, right? I'll talk to anybody, right? I've got 6 kids. I've got 4 at home. I don't travel widely, but like Midwest. But regardless of that, where you're at, like happy to have a conversation, happy to point you in directions, give you my take on what's going on with you. redfoxconsulting.com. So
awesome.
Happy to do that.
Thanks again for joining us, Jason. Thank you for your time that you gave us today. I hope this content was helpful for you. Encourage you to maybe take a hard look and determine where you are in your life cycle of your business. Maybe something like this would be helpful to you. And we also ask you to, if you like this, if you find our content helpful, go out there and subscribe where you get your podcast, like what we do, give us comments or maybe suggestions about topics we can bring on. And as always, if you're a company out there looking for specific help in what we do, which is provide you the great skill trade capability you need to drive your business forward, reach out to us at skillwork.com. We'd love to talk to you. Until next time, God bless.
This is Brett Elliott, CEO and co-founder at Skillwork. Prior to starting Skillwork, I spent over 30 years in the food manufacturing space. From literally starting out cleaning the restrooms to becoming the maintenance manager, then the plant manager, to eventually becoming the president and owner, I've seen the manufacturing world from many perspectives. And like many of you, I've seen firsthand the growing need for higher skilled workers, while at the same time experiencing the shortage of this skilled talent. I started Skillwork to address that need. I knew the headhunter and the local temp agency models were not the solution. If you're experiencing the same shortage of talent at your facility, we would love to connect you with our team. Give us a call at 402-447-7058 or visit us online at skillwork.com.